Did you know Marilyn Monroe, once Norma Jeane Mortenson, reshaped her look to meet Hollywood's impossible standards? From Rita Hayworth's striking transformation to Hedy Lamarr's enduring struggle for perfection. Here are the 20 golden age actors who ruined their careers with plastic surgery.
First, Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, whose real name was Norma Jeane Mortenson, became a timeless icon in Hollywood. Her bright smile and stunning looks made her unforgettable, but beneath her glamorous image lay a series of choices that would shape her legacy in more ways than one. To achieve the beauty standards of her time, Monroe underwent a rhinoplasty to reshape her nose and a chin implant to balance her facial structure. These changes weren't just about appearance, they were about survival in a brutal industry where looks could make or break a career. While these procedures helped her craft the image of a Hollywood star, they also came with a heavy cost. The constant need to perfect her looks placed her under immense pressure, leading her to rely on surgeries and beauty treatments that only added to the public's scrutiny. But did these surgeries truly help her? Or did they trap her in an endless cycle of insecurity? Every time she looked in the mirror, was she seeing the real Marilyn, or just a product of Hollywood's demands? The criticism she faced was harsh, and the spotlight only grew brighter as people dissected her appearance at every opportunity. Fans adored her, but the industry that built her up also seemed determined to tear her down. Monroe's reliance on altering her appearance reflected a larger issue in Hollywood, where beauty was often valued above talent. The surgeries weren't the only challenges she faced. Marilyn's mental health suffered as the pressure to maintain her image became overwhelming. Behind the glittering lights of fame, she struggled with feelings of isolation and inadequacy. Her dependence on cosmetic enhancements became a symbol of the impossible standards placed on women in the entertainment world. 2. Rita Hayworth. Rita Hayworth, born Margarita Carmen Cancino, was another star who drastically changed her appearance to fit into the Hollywood mold. From the moment she entered the industry, it was clear that her natural beauty and talent were not enough for the studios. To erase her Hispanic roots and conform to Hollywood's narrow standards, she underwent electrolysis to permanently change her hairline. This painful procedure, combined with the decision to dye her dark hair a striking red, completely transformed her appearance. While these changes elevated her to the status of a glamorous star, they came at a steep price. Hayworth's transformation wasn't just physical, it was deeply personal. By altering her looks to fit the image Hollywood demanded, she distanced herself from her heritage and identity. This loss of self created an inner conflict that haunted her throughout her career. She became the epitome of elegance and grace on screen, but behind closed doors, she struggled with feelings of loss and detachment from her true self. Rita's transformation may have been celebrated by the public, but it also revealed the harsh reality of Hollywood's beauty standards. How much was she willing to sacrifice to achieve fame? Did the changes she made help her shine brighter, or did they dim the light of who she really was? 3. Hedy Lamarr. Hedy Lamarr was not only admired for her stunning beauty, but also celebrated for her intellect and contributions to science. Yet, even someone as brilliant and talented as Lamarr was not immune to the pressures of Hollywood's obsession with perfection. Over the years, she underwent multiple cosmetic procedures, including facelifts and rhinoplasty, to maintain her youthful appearance. These surgeries may have kept her looking youthful for a time, but they also left their mark, and not always in a good way. As the years went by, the repeated procedures began to alter her appearance significantly. The face that had once captivated audiences was now a reminder of the toll that fame and the pursuit of perfection could take. Casting directors started to overlook her, as they preferred the familiar image of the Hedy Lamarr that fans had fallen in love with. The changes she made to stay relevant ultimately worked against her, creating a disconnect between her and the audience she once mesmerized. Lamarr's story is a poignant example of how the quest for beauty can overshadow even the greatest talents. Did her surgeries help her hold on to her fame, or did they push her further away from the spotlight she deserved? Her beauty was undeniable, but was it also her greatest curse? 4. Mary Pickford. Mary Pickford, often referred to as America's sweetheart, was a trailblazer in the world of cinema. As one of the first major stars of Hollywood's silent film era, she was adored for her charm and youthful appeal. But as the years went by, Pickford faced the harsh reality of aging in an industry that worshipped youth. To preserve her image as the sweet and innocent star, she turned to cosmetic surgery, undergoing early forms of facelifts to maintain her youthful appearance. Unfortunately, the surgical techniques available during her time were far from advanced. The results were often unnatural, leaving her with a tightened appearance that made it difficult for her to express emotions fully. This change had a significant impact on her acting, as her ability to convey the emotions that had once made her a beloved star was diminished. As her career began to decline, the surgeries became a painful reminder of the lengths she went to in order to stay relevant. Pickford's story is a stark reminder of the brutal standards placed on women in Hollywood, especially during its early years. Was her decision to undergo surgery a brave attempt to hold on to her career, or a sign of the impossible expectations she faced? Burt Lancaster. Burt Lancaster's rugged good looks and undeniable charisma made him a leading man in Hollywood for decades. Known for his tough and gritty roles, Lancaster became a symbol of masculinity on the silver screen. But as he aged, the pressure to maintain his image became overwhelming. To keep up with the demands of Hollywood, he turned to cosmetic dental work and facelifts, hoping to preserve the charm that had made him famous. The results, however, were not what he had hoped for. The polished and refined appearance that came with the surgeries clashed with the rough and tumble characters he was known for. Fans struggled to connect with this new version of Lancaster, and his popularity began to wane. The disconnect between his altered image and his established persona revealed the challenges of adapting to changing times in Hollywood. Lancaster's story is a powerful example of how the pursuit of perfection can sometimes backfire, especially in an industry that thrives on authenticity. Did his decision to undergo surgery help him stay relevant, or did it erase the very traits that made him a star? 6th, Dean Martin. Dean Martin, a beloved member of the Rat Pack, made the decision to undergo rhinoplasty early in his career. The goal was to refine the shape of his nose and make his features more appealing to Hollywood standards. However, the surgery did more than just reshape his nose. It took away part of his natural charm. The unique features that once made him stand out were softened, making it harder for him to maintain his distinctive identity. The world of entertainment is ruthless, and it often pressures stars into changing themselves for approval. But did this choice truly help Martin, or did it strip him of what made him special? Before we look further, we must ask, was this really worth it, or was it the beginning of a bigger problem? Dean's new look brought mixed reactions. Some praised his efforts to fit into the sleek Hollywood image, while others missed the rugged and authentic features he once had. With his identity altered, Martin had to work harder to prove himself in an industry that quickly forgets. While his talent and charisma couldn't be denied, it became clear that the rhinoplasty didn't deliver the results he might have hoped for. 7. Marlene Dietrich. Marlene Dietrich, famous for her timeless beauty and elegance, went to extreme lengths to preserve her youthful look. Facelifts, dental changes, and even the removal of molars to highlight her cheekbones were all part of her routine. She also relied on surgical tape to pull her skin back for a smoother appearance. At first, these efforts seemed to work. Dietrich continued to shine on screen, captivating audiences with her otherworldly beauty. But over time, the results began to backfire. Her face became tight and strained, losing the natural softness that once made her so magnetic. Fans and critics started noticing, and whispers of unnatural looks spread through the industry. It's a harsh truth. In Hollywood, staying the same is almost impossible, but changing too much is unforgivable. Did these procedures keep her relevant, or did they tarnish her legacy? Before we judge, let's think about what it takes to survive in an industry that demands perfection at any cost. Dietrich's determination to hold on to her beauty came at a price. The constant strain of trying to look youthful left her worn and emotionally drained. She became a symbol of Hollywood's obsession with perfection. But at what cost? The more she tried to fight time, the more it seemed to control her. 8. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford, a star known for her unforgettable features and commanding presence, turned to cosmetic surgery to hold on to her youthful image. Multiple facelifts and other procedures were part of her attempts to defy aging. At first, These changes helped her maintain the polished, glamorous look that made her famous. But as time went on, the surgeries began to take a toll. Her face grew tighter and less expressive, and critics were quick to point it out. Hollywood is not kind to aging women, and Crawford felt this pressure deeply. She believed that looking young was the only way to stay relevant. But did these surgeries truly help her? Or did they hurt her chances of evolving as an actress? Her once commanding presence started to fade as audiences focused more on her altered appearance than her performances. Before we go further, ask yourself, how much is too much when it comes to chasing perfection? Crawford's career, though iconic, became overshadowed by her attempts to fight aging. The very industry she helped build seemed to turn against her. While she remained a legend, her later years were marked by criticism and scrutiny. Could she have maintained her status without the surgeries? Or was she just another victim of Hollywood's impossible standards? The answer might not be so simple. Bette Davis. Bette Davis, celebrated for her piercing eyes and magnetic talent, reportedly turned to cosmetic procedures to compete with younger actresses. While her acting skills remained unmatched, the surgeries changed her appearance in ways that fans and critics couldn't ignore. Her face began to lose the expressive qualities that had once made her performances so memorable. As her altered look clashed with her earlier image, it became harder for audiences to connect with her. Was this an act of self-preservation or a risky gamble that didn't pay off? Davis's decision to undergo surgery wasn't just about vanity. It was about survival. Hollywood's unforgiving nature leaves even the most talented stars feeling insecure. But did the pressure to stay relevant rob Davis of her authenticity? Her career, once unstoppable, faced new challenges as people focused on her changed appearance rather than her immense talent. Before we go on, think about this. Was this a personal choice, or was it forced by an industry obsessed with youth? Her surgeries might have been an attempt to stay competitive, but they also highlighted the double standards in Hollywood. Male actors often age gracefully, while women are expected to remain flawless. Davis's story shows the immense pressure actresses face to stay in the spotlight. Did these choices help her fight back against these expectations, or did they ultimately work against her? The line between success and failure in Hollywood is often razor thin, and Davis's experience proves it. Montgomery Clift. Montgomery Clift's career took a devastating turn after a severe car accident left him needing reconstructive surgery. The procedures, while necessary, altered his appearance significantly. This visible change affected not only his confidence, but also his appeal as a leading man. The once smooth and captivating charm he exuded on screen was replaced by a more somber and distant presence. Did this shift in his image unfairly overshadow his immense talent? Or was Hollywood too focused on appearances to appreciate his depth? Clift's accident and the resulting surgeries marked a turning point in his career. Once considered one of the most handsome and talented actors of his time, he now faced new challenges. Hollywood's obsession with perfection didn't leave room for imperfections, even when they weren't his fault. His confidence suffered, and he struggled to find his place in an industry that seemed to value looks over talent. Before we continue, think about this. How often does Hollywood's shallow nature destroy great talents? Despite the challenges, Clift continued to deliver remarkable performances. His talent never faded, but the industry's perception of him did. The car accident may have changed his appearance, but it didn't change his heart or dedication. Still, the scars, both physical and emotional, took their toll. 11th, Judy Garland. Judy Garland's name still brings memories of magic and music, but her life behind the spotlight was anything but magical. From the moment she stepped into Hollywood, she was pushed to change who she was. Studio executives insisted she wasn't perfect enough, forcing her to wear dental caps and reshape her nose while she was still a teenager. These changes might have seemed small, but they left a lasting scar. They told her she wasn't good enough just as she was. Over time, these insecurities grew bigger, like shadows following her every move. The public adored her for her voice and screen presence. But behind the scenes, Judy was battling a silent war with herself. The demands of Hollywood didn't stop with her looks. She was constantly pushed to lose weight, often through extreme measures like pills and diets that took a toll on her health. Her iconic smile on screen masked the exhaustion and pain she felt inside. And as the years went by, Judy's insecurities deepened. She turned to substances to numb the overwhelming pressure, a choice that would haunt her for the rest of her life. Fans watched her on screen, unaware of how much she was suffering. Every performance, every public appearance, became a balancing act between pleasing the world and holding herself together. By the time she reached adulthood, Judy's face had become a symbol of Hollywood's control. She wasn't just a performer. She was a product of an industry that demanded perfection at all costs. But perfection came with a price. Her mental and physical health began to crumble under the weight of endless expectations. The world remembers Judy Garland as a star, but few know the full story of how she was shaped and ultimately broken by an industry that never gave her room to breathe. 12th, Tony Curtis. Tony Curtis was the picture of charm and charisma. With his dazzling smile and striking looks, he quickly became a Hollywood favorite. But even someone as confident as Tony couldn't escape the fear of growing older. In an industry obsessed with youth, he felt the pressure to keep his handsome image intact. The decision to undergo a facelift seemed like a way to hold on to the star power that had made him famous. But instead of preserving his charm, the procedure left him with a face that no longer felt real. The surgery tightened his skin to the point where his natural expressions were lost. His once effortless smile now appeared forced, and his lively eyes seemed dulled by the changes. Audiences who had once fallen in love with his relaxed, approachable presence struggled to connect with this new version of him. Tony's career, built on both his talent and his looks, began to falter. Directors turned their attention to younger stars, or those who hadn't altered their appearance. It was as if the surgery had robbed him of the authenticity that made him shine. But the story doesn't end there. Tony's choice to change his appearance wasn't just about vanity. It was about survival in a world that values image over substance. His struggle speaks to a deeper truth about Hollywood's harsh realities. Aging, a natural part of life, became something to fear and fight against. And for Tony, the fight came with consequences that extended far beyond his career. Kim Novak. Kim Novak was a symbol of elegance and beauty, a star whose presence lit up the silver screen. But like so many others, Kim couldn't escape the pressure to remain flawless. As the years passed, she turned to cosmetic procedures, including fat injections and facelifts, in an effort to hold on to her youth. These decisions, however, came with a cost that would forever alter her legacy. What was once a face celebrated for its natural charm became a topic of public scrutiny. The changes were impossible to ignore. Fans and critics alike noticed the differences, and the media wasted no time turning her appearance into a headline. Kim's beauty, which had once been her greatest asset, became a source of relentless judgment. Opportunities in Hollywood started to slip away, not because of her talent, but because of the industry's obsession with youth and perfection. Her career, once thriving, began to fade as the focus shifted from her abilities to her altered appearance. It's heartbreaking to think that someone as talented as Kim felt the need to change herself to fit into Hollywood's narrow standards. But her story isn't just about her. It's about an industry that feeds off beauty and discards those who dare to age. Kim Novak's journey is a painful reminder of the impossible expectations placed on women in the entertainment world. And yet, her story isn't even the most shocking one on this list. 14. Mickey Rooney. Mickey Rooney was a powerhouse of talent. He could sing, act, and entertain like few others, but even he couldn't escape Hollywood's obsession with youth. As he got older, Mickey opted for facelifts, hoping to keep his career alive. Instead of helping, the surgeries gave him a look that felt out of place. The boy next door charm that once defined him was replaced by something stiffer, less relatable. Audiences noticed, and so did casting directors. Roles that might have come his way in the past started going to others. Mickey's attempt to keep up with the times only pushed him further from the limelight. This isn't just a tale of bad choices. It's a warning about the dangers of chasing an impossible ideal. And yet, the pressures Mickey faced were nothing compared to the story of the next star. 15. Lana Turner. Lana Turner was the queen of glamour, but even queens aren't immune to time. Determined to maintain her allure, Lana underwent multiple facelifts over the years. What started as small adjustments soon became more noticeable, leaving her face stretched and unnatural. The changes didn't just affect her looks, they altered how audiences saw her. Once adored for her effortless beauty, Lana became a symbol of Hollywood's relentless demand for youth. Critics were quick to point out the differences, and fans found it harder to connect with her on screen. Her star, once so bright, began to fade as roles became harder to find. But Lana's story isn't just about surgeries gone wrong. It's about a system that builds up stars only to tear them down when they no longer fit its ideal. 16th, Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, known as one of Hollywood's most daring and charming stars, was admired for his swashbuckling roles and adventurous spirit. As time wore on, he turned to cosmetic surgery, hoping to hold on to the youthful looks that had defined his career. However, instead of maintaining his natural charisma, the surgeries left him with a face that looked artificial and out of sync with the hero roles he had once mastered. His altered appearance made it hard for fans to connect with him, and his personal scandals only worsened his fall from grace. Errol's story didn't end with just surgeries. The once dashing actor struggled to find work in his later years, as casting directors turned away from his faded glory. Critics pointed out that his face seemed almost frozen, a stark contrast to the lively expressions that had captivated audiences in films like The Adventures of Robin Hood. Despite his efforts to recapture his golden age, Errol's attempts to fight time ultimately highlighted how fleeting fame and beauty can be in Hollywood. His downfall became a cautionary tale, reminding others of the dangers of chasing eternal youth. Imagine the heartbreak of seeing your reflection and realizing it no longer represents who you once were. 17. Gloria Swanson. Gloria Swanson, a shining star of the silent film era, was adored for her elegance and timeless beauty. Yet, as the years passed, she felt the pressure to keep her youthful glow in a rapidly changing industry. Determined to stay relevant, she turned to facelifts and skin treatments. These procedures, though meant to preserve her beauty, ended up giving her face a stretched and unnatural look that made her seem far removed from the graceful icon fans had loved. Her story paints a vivid picture of how fame can drive even the brightest stars to desperate measures. Gloria's changing appearance became a barrier in her career, especially as Hollywood began shifting toward new faces and different styles. Audiences who once marveled at her beauty now struggled to recognize the actress they had admired on screen. Despite her immense talent, the industry's obsession with youth overshadowed her legacy. Her later performances were often overshadowed by whispers about her surgeries, detracting from her work. Think about it. How could someone so gifted and beloved end up trapped by the very image that made them famous? Gloria's story is not just about aging, but about the immense pressure placed on actresses during the golden age of Hollywood. Every wrinkle or flaw was scrutinized, leaving little room for natural beauty. Her efforts to remain in the limelight serve as a stark reminder of the toll fame takes on those who strive to meet impossible standards. 18. Rock Hudson. Rock Hudson, a leading man of the 1950s and 1960s, was the epitome of charm and rugged good looks. As the years went by, he felt the pressure to maintain his status as a Hollywood heartthrob. To keep up with the industry's beauty standards, he underwent rhinoplasty and facelifts. At first, these changes were subtle, but over time, his face took on an artificial quality that made him look less relatable to audiences. The surgeries, meant to extend his career, ironically made it harder for him to secure roles. Before we move forward, think about this. Can perfection ever be achieved? Or does the pursuit of it lead to even greater flaws? Hudson's altered appearance marked a turning point in his career. Fans who had adored his natural charm began to notice the changes, and the media wasn't kind in its critiques. Casting directors, too, seemed hesitant to offer him the same leading roles he had once commanded effortlessly. His story underscores the unforgiving nature of Hollywood, where even a slight deviation from perfection can lead to a rapid decline. Imagine being celebrated for your looks and then judged harshly when they no longer meet expectations. The tragedy of Hudson's story lies in how deeply he wanted to hold on to the image that made him a star. The surgeries, rather than helping him adapt to an evolving industry, seem to highlight the pressures that come with fame. As we reflect on his experience, we're left with a question: how many stars have faced similar fates, and how many more will? 19th, Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor's name is synonymous with beauty, talent, and glamour. As one of Hollywood's most celebrated actresses, she captivated audiences for decades. But even Taylor, with her striking violet eyes and iconic features, wasn't immune to the pressures of maintaining her image. Reports suggest she underwent facelifts and minor facial adjustments to keep her youthful glow. While these procedures were less dramatic than some of her peers, the noticeable changes sparked debates about whether she should have let her natural beauty shine instead. Taylor's surgeries didn't just affect her appearance. They influenced how the public and the industry perceived her. Critics began to focus on her looks rather than her performances, and the media dissected every change. The weight of these expectations seeped into her personal life, adding stress to an already demanding career. Consider this: how much of her choices were driven by her own desires, and how much by the relentless gaze of the public. Despite the scrutiny, Taylor remained a powerful presence in Hollywood, but the cost of her fame was undeniable. Her reliance on cosmetic enhancements highlighted the immense pressure female stars faced to conform to unrealistic beauty standards. 20. Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda, a trailblazing actress and fitness icon, became known not only for her talent, but also for her openness about aging. Despite her confidence, she admitted to undergoing facelifts and other cosmetic procedures to meet the industry's unrelenting standards. Initially, these enhancements were subtle and barely noticeable. Over time, however, the changes became more apparent, leading to mixed reactions from fans and critics alike. The surgeries, while meant to preserve her image, sparked debates about authenticity and the pressure to look perfect. Fonda's willingness to discuss her surgeries brought a new dimension to her story. She acknowledged the societal expectations that pushed her to make these choices, offering a rare glimpse into the struggles of aging in Hollywood. Her experience serves as a reminder of how even the most accomplished stars aren't immune to the pressures of fame. Reflect on this. Did her honesty empower others? Or did it simply shine a light on an industry that refuses to let its stars age naturally? Despite the criticism, Fonda continued to thrive, proving that talent and resilience could overcome the superficial standards of Hollywood. Her story is a testament to the complexities of fame, beauty, and aging in an unforgiving industry.